Welcome inside another edition of Celtics Roundtable on CLNS Media. CLNS Media, the leading online provider of audio, video coverage of your Boston Celtics. Welcome inside, everybody. A Wednesday reaction show for you coming morning after the opening night. Celtics lose a tough one, although great heart, great effort at the end of the game. They lose a tough one to LeBron James, Cleveland Cavaliers. Final score, 102-99. Today's show brought to you in part by Greats.com. Makers of the all-time greats. Go to Greats.com and use the promo code Celtics Roundtable for 15% off your next purchase. Get a pair of kicks like these, or like Nick got for his birthday from Greats.com. But look, we can go over a lot of stuff. We're going to get into some things schematically. But we have Coach Nick with us, myself, Evan Valenti, Matt Ignal as well. Look, Coach Nick, you're one of your best players goes down in what looks like a season-ending injury for the entire team. How do you even begin to rally a team together?
You know, you can't. I know that Brad Stevens at halftime had the interview. It says they simply must. Like, there is no other choice. You have to. But it was going to take a half, or it was going to take a certain amount of time, especially because it is a starter. So even if he went down with a finger injury and he's out for the game, right, it'll take them a while to get adjusted to that, especially in the first game when the whole training camp has been designed toward, getting these guys on the same page. And they probably weren't even there yet anyway. So it is really one of the more brutal injuries I've ever seen. And, I know people want to say, well, it's just an ankle, but it's probably a compound fracture. He's not coming back inside of a year, as far as I could tell from what I've seen. And that's just going to be a real it's a real issue that maybe there's some hope at the end of this game, but it's really it's unfortunate. There's a dark cloud over the Celtics right now.
Do you think that injury affects the Celtics more on the offensive side of the floor or the defensive side of the floor? Because Gordon Hayward is pretty proficient at everything you'd want him to be good at. He's a very skilled offensive player, both as a distributor and as a scorer. He's a great defender. What side of the floor sees the biggest impact from his departure?
It's a great question, and my instinct would be to say it's the offensive end, because he takes a little bit of pressure off of Kyrie. And what we did see as it started to bog down in that first half was that they couldn't force any closeouts. They couldn't get any kind of penetration, and then that left, then they could deny Kyrie and blow up the whole offense. So with him in there, it makes it a lot harder to do that. Defensively he's good, he's solid, but I feel like they can cover for that well enough. So it's going to be the offensive that I think that's going to really hurt them, and that's what you need against the Cavs. Apparently,
Brad Stevens told the media that Gordon Hayward has a dislocated ankle and a fractured tibia.
Oh. Right. That's the compound fracture part. I mean, I think, he probably broke all the way. It was terrible.
Yeah. It's just tough to watch. And I give credit to the Celtics for, in the second half of that game, they shot almost like 50% from the field, started to pull that game back together, took a lead late in the fourth quarter. You looked at what Boston was running and looked at what they were doing. You can analyze it all you want, Nick, and you can do whatever you want to do. But the fact that team sort of got a little bit of their act together in the second half is how they brought themselves back. It wasn't just, things going like they didn't run it. I didn't look like they run anything too different. I mean, you saw a lot of Marcus Smart post-ups. They got out in transition. They did that a lot in the preseason in terms of getting out in transition and finishing on that end. Marcus Smart post-ups we've seen his first couple of years in the league, so it wasn't anything different. It was just focus and getting the ball around and making sure they were taking good shots. That's the only thing that I saw that was different.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest difference is that, you get someone like Jaylen Brown who's looking really every minute that went by, he got more and more comfortable and really just making plays. And then Jayson Tatum started out, scared. And I know people want to say, well, you'd be scared too after that injury. But to me, it was more like just the rookie nerves. And as he broke a sweat and as he got more comfortable, like in that third quarter, he was terrific, really, and he doesn't even know how good he can be. I think that's the thing here. So Tatum needs to kind of believe more in himself, and he'll be really good. So it's gonna force those guys to have to grow up in a hurry, and ultimately it might make them a better team.
Yeah, I mean, imagine that Tatum is now almost like locked in as the starter for the year, even after Marcus Morris comes back, because they don't really have anyone else to fill that role. You know, they're just going to be relying so heavily on Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum to fill those minutes left in the void by Gordon Hayward. They're really going to be thrown to the fire, and rookies don't tend to perform all that well in their first year, but I think the Celtics got a good one in Tatum.
Absolutely. I mean, I wasn't even sold coming out of college and looking at all this stuff, but you know, the more you saw in summer league and some preseason stuff, and you know, there definitely the ability is there. He just needs the experience. He just needs to play, you know, 40 games in the NBA and really just get, you know, learn what it's like to be in that speed and in that setting. But yeah, it looks like he could be a really, really nice piece. He's long. He can defend. He has some ability there, and I like the way he can go at it to the basket. I mean, he's got a good game. So yeah, it will help. I would be depressed if Morris does start, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he starts when he comes back. Either way, Tatum does get a lot of minutes, but yeah, it would be nice to see him just develop as a starter, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and not just for two reasons. One, you know, he gets to play with a unit that can kind of maybe mask his deficiencies a little bit. He's going to play with some guys that, you know, Kyrie Irving's a great example. A guy that's going to take a lot of offensive pressure, you know, off him. He doesn't have to be a guy that has to create every single time down the floor in the half court. He's going to pick and choose his spots. And one of the things with Tatum that I liked a lot, you talked about his defense. I thought offensively in the first half, he was just, the rookie wall, the rookie nerves. You have just, holy, you know, crap, I'm on an NBA floor for the first time, and LeBron James is right over there. Like, that's going to take some time to get used to. But as you said, it looked like as he got more comfortable on the floor, the game, they always say slows down, but the game kind of came to him a little bit. He kind of figured out how he fits in, and then all of a sudden you see him, you know, with a shot fake and a pass fake and a drive to the basket and a nice finish with a left-handed finger roll late in the third quarter. Like, that's the stuff you're looking for. Like, not the guy that's going to be afraid of the moment. It was a guy that was like, okay, whatever, we're still in this game. My team needs me to play. I still need to make the right play. And I thought, even though the first half was sort of a train wreck for him, the second half, a lot of good tape there.
Absolutely. I mean, all those things you said, yes, and that's a great thing to build on. I know Drew Hanlon, who trains him, I don't know if he got mad at me, but I said he looked a little scared in the first half, and he retweeted his stat line and then mentioned he had to go up against LeBron James, and that's not an easy thing. So yeah, I think he represented very well, and it's very encouraging going forward, without question.
You more encouraged by his offense or his defense?
I mean, I didn't see much on the defensive end from him, really. You know, it's funny because obviously they gave up, I think, 52 points in the first half, which isn't all that bad. Like they only scored whatever, the 38 or whatever it was in the first half. So you know, the defense by the Celtics overall was pretty good, and I think Brad Stevens will walk away thinking that that's going to be good enough to keep them in a lot of games and win a lot of games. So, I don't. Nothing really stood out for me about his defense necessarily. And then there was the one, you know, the Love three was his rotation out, but Wade had cut, so he had to cover that. Maybe like one step earlier to get there would have been ideal, but he'll learn that. That's not a big deal, really. And then give credit to Love for hitting the shot.
Yeah, and look. Well, this is a team that's still going to figure out where they belong on the floor, and they're going to take some time to gel, but that's going to come with time. Just want to take a quick segment break to tell you that this show is sponsored today by Greats, makers of the all-time greats, classic, stylish, and comfortable sneakers sold at a great price. Greats is Brooklyn's first sneaker company. They sell all the greats, classic styles, made the best for less, like this one right here. This is the excellent Royale leather lace-up shoe I got from these guys. It's absolutely spectacular. They have a wide selection of men's and women's shoes on display for you guys in their new store in Williamsburg and Brooklyn, and, of course, on their online store, greats.com, GREATS.com. Versatile style, suitable for any occasion. Dress them up, dress them down, wear them with a pair of jeans, wear them with a suit. You can do whatever you want. They're fantastic shoes. They have a ton of different colors and materials to choose from. Look, you got to get a versatile shoe. Black's a good one. Brown's a good one. You know, leave the navies and the olives for later and pick up a pair of versatile ones. And the best sellers include the all-leather Royal Lace-Up and the Wooster Slip-On. Coach Nick, you got some for your birthday, didn't you? Do you enjoy your great shoes?
I do. They look amazing. I love the color. I have a pair of green ones, and they're really great. They look great. People were actually complimenting me. So, yeah, definitely I'm in on those.
Just they stepped up on Nick's fashion game. And you can step on your game too. Go to greats.com, greats.com. And when you check out, use the promo code Celtics Roundtable for 15% off your first purchase. Again, that's greats.com. Celtics Roundtable is that promo code for 15% off. And show us your kicks. Retweet us or tweet your pictures of your shoes at us. Get an automatic retweet and then style advice from me because, yeah, that's kind of what I do anyway. But I want to get back to this game because the other big thing from this game, Coach Nick, of course, Coach Nick of BBallBreakdown, one of the best, and I actually think one of the best resource on the internet for basketball for breaking down X's and O's, is the emergence of Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, of course, in the first half, like everybody else, kind of looked like a train wreck. But the second half was assertive, drove to the basket, played decent defense as well as you could if you're a 20-year-old trying to cover LeBron.
LeBron put him in the torture chamber quite a few times there.
Well, that's the greatest player in the world against a 20-year-old. What do you want?
I don't know. I kind of thought Smart should have gotten the assignment down the end. I mean,
you know who I thought should have guarded him?
Jayson Tatum?
Nope.
Kyrie?
Al Horford.
Oh, okay.
Because what do you want LeBron to do? What are you rejoicing when he does in the half court? Is when he shoots a three, right? That should just be a cause. Light a candle, have it, sing a song. So what was he doing? Just backing the man down, getting right in the lane, and basically forcing. That was like the penetration without having to actually penetrate. Well, they had the one time when you saw Al Horford switch off on him, and he just contained him. He wasn't going to back him down, and he shot up a three and missed. Like, that was what, I think that would be what they should have done.
That's not a bad idea. The only thing I would get concerned about is the speed of LeBron, like, laterally. But if he's going to try and back Horford down, I guess you could bring in doubles from somewhere and try and cut that spin to either whatever way you shade him, the spin of the opposite way, I guess. If you were at Horford, shade him towards the middle of the floor and have somebody else come over and try and double him that way. I mean, again, you can't really cover LeBron one-on-one, but that's an interesting idea to make LeBron settle for a jump shot.
Yeah, I mean, it worked there, and I think that I don't think LeBron is going to engage nearly as much trying to back him down on that one. And he's very cagey. Horford knows how to do that kind of stuff and knows how to give him enough space where he ain't going to he's not going to go by him. He's going to get an open shot before he's going to drive to the basket on that, and that's it's what you want. So maybe Coach Stevens will see something there and put that in his brain for the next time.
Maybe you have to tell him. Maybe we'll have somebody relay that message for you. But again, I want to get back to Jaylen because Jaylen was a huge part of the Celtics' second half resurgence. A lot of people, and I guess it's a fair criticism, but I have a hard time making this one because he's so young. But a lot of people have criticized Jaylen Brown for his inability to maybe put the ball on the deck and drive and finish with contact to the rim. And I thought in the second half he really asserted himself, drove to the lane repeatedly, drove at the rim, even a little bit in the first half, drove at the rim repeatedly, had guys bounce off him, tried to finish through contact. That handle needs a lot of work. But you can see, this guy's confidence is through the roof right now after a summer of training and trying to get better. I liked how assertive he was.
Absolutely. And you know what? He also got screwed on some calls, I felt like. There was some contact up in there where he was, he didn't get a call when he could have. And eventually, I guess as you get into that, I don't know when that is, the refs all of a sudden decide, right, when they'll start calling fouls for guys who aren't young rookies or young players. So if that starts to happen, then that'll also benefit him because, he should have gotten at least 4 more free throws.
Oh, well, then there's a 3-point game right there, but he's a terrible free throw shooter, so he probably would have gone in. But between Jayson Tatum, we saw a lot from Jaylen Brown, and then Marcus Smart doing Marcus Smart stuff. The lighter frame, again, he was awful in the first half, absolutely terrible, miserable. But the second half, again, threw his body around a little bit more, posted guys up in the low post, killed Kyle Korver twice in a row on back-to-back possessions, which I loved. I think they had J.R. Smith in a switch at one point trying to cover him, or Derrick Rose, one of those two guys. Where Marcus, once again, went right to work down on a low block. And he's a guy that can pass out of the low post, too. He's a pretty good low post passer. If you were trying to reconfigure this offense, because, again, you're missing Gordon Hayward, you're going to miss 20 points. Okay, there's at least 25 a game you're not going to get from one place. I would probably write that, not like it's not already in the playbook, but I'd probably try and feature that a little bit more, would you not?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as long as the matchup is there and it works, for sure. I mean, he was trying to post up everybody. It didn't matter how big the person was. So
that's true.
Yeah, and he's got that YOLO to him. So yeah, I think that's going to have to be a big source of their the points. And then I think that Tatum is going to have to be that guy. He's going to grow up fast. I think Jaylen Brown also is going to have to grow up as well and maybe bump up 5 points a game. Who knows, something crazy like that. But yeah, they're going to have to find it from a bunch of different places. And then we haven't even spoken about Kyrie yet.
Yeah, true. And he was about as good as I thought he would be. I've talked myself into a lot of Kyrie hype at this point, this part of the season. I mean, watching him for 4 games, no, it's not a big sample size, but I've seen enough to say, okay, all the things that I thought would be a concern, some of them are gone, some of them are still there, but the vision I like, to me, has been on display ever since he stepped foot in a Celtics uniform on the floor. And that's something that I was looking for right from the get-go. Like, defensively, we'll talk about that at some point more. But, in terms of trying to lead a team and be a floor general and be a distributor, I didn't see, again, I didn't think that was out of the ordinary. I didn't think it was anything that to be concerned about. I thought the vision was good.
I mean, the dude had 10 assists, and I bet you there was a blown one in there or two. So, without question, he is very slowly, or not even slowly, he's quickly picking up this offense. And the way he's reading the cuts on the weak side, I mean, it's a lot different than what he got in Cleveland. And again, Brad Stevens should be listen, it's a terrible day in Celtics history right now, right. But there's a lot to take away that's going to be very positive at some point once they can get over this, even the shock and the horribleness of the injury. Kyrie is functioning in the offense. It took him a few shots in the beginning, but I see it, and I see them being more dangerous than they were last year.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I just wanted you to just expound on that, just a little bit. What do you see Brad Stevens implementing with Kyrie that's going to at least get him better looks or at least turn him into more of a facilitator?
I mean, I think the first thing I like about just the way he's existing in the offense is that he's setting off-ball screens himself. And as we know, when you do that, you end up becoming the more important, the more dangerous player, because everyone looks to the cutter that you're screening for, and you can pop out or you get a down screen. Now you're open. And when you give someone like Kyrie a step and a half on his man and on the catch, forget about it. He's going to get a great shot. So that's what's exciting about it. He's willing to do that. Sometimes players don't want to set those screens and really do that, but he's doing it. So that's great. A lot of dribble handoffs, which is also another thing, which is basically a moving pick and roll. And so those are the things that this offense spreads and does really well. And I see it he's getting it really quick.
Yeah, it's been a fun couple of days for the Kyrie Irving offense. And it's hard to think about exactly. Again, he was fantastic. He had a bunch of big threes. He had the Dirk one-legged fadeaway in the first half against Derrick Rose. That was excellent. Still shifting the lane. He had one move where he blew the layup, but it got somehow spun through 2 guys, split the double, and try to finish a runny running. It was a little ridiculous. I love what I've seen so far. Again, this is nothing new. The preseason was one of these revelations where Kyrie got pass happy, and now that the one thing I did notice in this game, they used him more as an off ball guy. And if they're going to run Marcus Smart to the point, him off the ball, and Marcus's 3-point shots for real, which we haven't seen in a regular season game yet, that's going to be devastating if they can find a way to get those guys moving around the chessboard, and especially without Horford, finding a way to get both those guys the basketball. But it's tough to have a lot of analysis today after the Celtics season changes so quickly on one play where their entire season, what they were waiting for an entire couple of months, went up in flames in about 6 minutes. Where do you, as just a kind of a closing here, again, quick, because we don't have a lot of games in the tank at all, only 2 so far, but in terms of where you'd rank the Celtics without Gordon Hayward, obviously they're a middle-of-the-road team, but there's a lot of the middle-of-the-road teams in the Eastern Conference. Now it's just Cleveland and just everybody else.
Yeah, so I would have to put them. I mean, obviously, I thought they could win the Eastern Conference and even finish above Cleveland again. But now you got to imagine they're 3rd or 4th. right? I mean, again, it is a mediocre Eastern Conference. I'm anticipating a team like Milwaukee to do pretty well, but are they ready to get into the top 3? And I don't know. And then Toronto is around, but I never really loved Toronto. But, regular season wise, they could do it. So, yeah, they're going to be battling those teams, and they're going to be anywhere from, 3rd, 4th. I don't think they drop much farther than that. They do have a lot of talent, but, Tatum, someone just tweeted me saying that first guy since Bird to have a double-double in their first game as the Celtics. So, so I think that with Brad Stevens and what they have, they should be able to get in that 3rd, 4th range.
Fully agree. Definitely agree. And with that, I want to thank Coach Nick for joining myself, Matt Ignal, here on the show here this morning. Make sure if you're watching us on YouTube, hey, what's up? Do us a favor. Like us. Hit that like button down there. And then subscribe to CLNS Media on YouTube. You can actually catch Coach Nick and his B-Ball Breakdown podcast on our podcast app. But want to thank you guys for joining in today. If you listen to us on the go, make sure you subscribe to the Boston Celtics news feed. You can do that in iTunes, Stitcher, whatever podcast app you use, or download the CLNS Radio mobile app. Bunch of great podcasts in there, adding to that by the day. And make sure you follow us on Twitter at CLNS Roundtable and Coach Nick at BBallBreakdown. Again, thank you so much, Nick. Thanks to Matt. Thanks to Greats.com. Again, get some sick kicks. Use the promo code Celtics Roundtable for 15% off your next pair of shoes, or make that multiple pairs of shoes. For Coach Nick, for Matt Ignal, I'm Evan Valenti. We'll see you next time.